Over the years, the National Common Entrance Examination has excelled in its pivotal role of ensuring access to quality education for unity schools. The examination conducted by the National Examinations Council, NECO, is a primary means through which students gain admission into federal government colleges in Nigeria. The National Common Entrance Examination is highly competitive and places premium on high performance to secure an admission, and because it is currently the only means through which students can gain admission into unity schools, it therefore limits the opportunities available to students who may not perform well or may not have had access to adequate preparation. In the light of the foregoing, however, research has also shown that there has been limited enthusiasm by students to register for this all-important examination, and the situation has given rise to multiple shifts and extensions of dates for the National Common Entrance Examination in the past. If the situation is correct, what then could be responsible for the seemingly lack of interest or slow pace of registration leading to these shifts in dates? These mind-boggling questions are what we hope to unravel on our outing today. Welcome to Nigeria Today. I am your carrier, Clinton. Thanks for joining. To discuss the extension of registration, the deadline for the 2024 NCEE is Professor Dantani Ibrahim Wushishi, is the Registrar, National Examination Council, NECO. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
Also with us in the studio is Dr. Philip John Hayab, an educationist. You're welcome to Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
Now, Prof, we'll start with you. The extensions, from the 20th of April to 1st of June, almost 6 weeks extension. Why this extension for the National Common Entrance Examination?
Yes, thank you very much. Very important question. The examination itself, National Common Entrance Examination, historically is to provide avenues for cultural integration within the schools by Nigerians, as necessitated by the exigencies of the civil law, just like the NYSE scheme. And the unity schools have grown from 102 to about 115 unity schools that we have in the country today. And because of the importance of this examination to national integration, it is always hoped that states fill their quotas to make sure that candidates from each of the states of the federation have opportunity to gain admission into these unity schools. This is where you have a constellation of culture and religion across the country in these schools. So this is where we foster unity among the young Nigerians that are opportune to gain admission into these schools. But these days you find that even with the advocacy we engaged in by the council across the state, the Federal Minister of Education also engaged in advocacy with us to make sure that at least states boost their quota in terms of seating for this examination. As I speak to you, I think by 4th of April, 37,147 candidates registered. 37,000. You imagine, yes, you imagine the number of unity schools that are there for candidates, for candidates to be admitted. And you also imagine the number of public primary schools that we have, the private primary schools that we have. You imagine the number at the terminal level. The number will be tremendous. But only 37,000 candidates as at 4th April. Then it just jacked up to 49,567 candidates as at today. we registered 49,567 when we are supposed to even take the examination just 3 days from today.
What was your
on
target? What
20th.
were you expecting?
We are expecting that we should hit more than 200,000 or so.
Okay.
Or by the population of the primary schools and those that are graduating from primary schools, we should even have up to 1 million.
Okay.
Because in those days, the primary schools we attended, we write national common entrance. So the best out of each of the primary school will be called for interview and aptitude test, and you are given admission to. But these days we have an opportunity to write directly, but candidates are not forthcoming. You imagine a state has only 4 candidates. 4 candidates. You see, and even this state with 4 candidates, Republic of Benin, that also right, has 5 candidates. Republic of Benin, outside Nigeria, has 5 candidates to write. We expect that Nigerians should patronize this so that we have our awards in all these schools. By the time we continue to graduate candidates from these unity schools, the unity of the country will be enhanced, because they will become professionals and come to work for government. They will first and foremost see themselves as human beings and Nigerians, irrespective of religious leaning or cultural affiliation.
Thank you very much, Prof. But before we continue, before I come to you, Doc, we'll take the opinion of people, of Nigerians, on the issue of the extension of the deadline of the 2024 NCEE, as put together by Kemini Williams. Don't go away.
But from what I can see around, I believe that it's the private school that is causing a lot of distraction. So much that most of these government schools now, you hardly see children going for the state and the federal common entrance, because most parents prefer to take their children, their wards, to private schools. And those private schools, they don't need the government common entrance to admit those students. They have their own school, their own schools conduct common entrance and special exams for those children, and some of them leave as quickly as age 8 from primary 4. So those ones, on a good day, the common entrance will not even register them. As in those states and governments and the federal government schools and all of those, they won't register them at age 8. But the private school will just jump at it because they are after the money that they want to make. So I just want to admonish the parents to at least allow these children to grow to the appropriate age, because when you talk of secondary school and all this, age really makes a whole lot of difference. So if they will allow them to actually get to the age that they are supposed to move to the secondary school, they should allow them to go through the primary school and then go through this common entrance properly, so that at the end of the day, when they get to secondary, they'll be able to cope. They'll be able to cope fine. That's my own suggestion. And the government too should encourage it, because the way I see it now, the certificate doesn't have value again. The governments are not really pushing that common, like when we were there. Yeah, that you know that your school leaving certificate is very important. Now nobody is making reference to school leaving certificates again.
I may prepare the private, because what is happening in the Nigerian education, not that we're not having the teachers, you understand, but they are not devoted to what towards their career. What am I saying? You may have a teacher in government school, while they know their schedules of teaching, but they cannot stick to that. What I said I prepared the private is, you know what you're paying, and the input is coming out. If your child tell you that you're paying your money, they are not getting what they want, I can be able to remove my child from there, because I know what I'm spending.
The parents we have these days, even though they have access to good and quality educations, they just want their children to go to school, pass, and probably travel abroad after them. I think that could be a factor. More so, I want to speak a lot on government policies. On the government policy, there is no policy that actually control the way the youth actually behave in the country these days. People move into Yahoo and other things because they don't see reason why they must go to school. I'm a PhD holder. At a time, I had to look into it that, okay, it is good for me, advantage can come. But I can see people that didn't even go to school that are doing well financially than I do. Because even working as a federal government worker, you still have a lot of shortcomings when it comes to finances, and people look up to you that you have a federal government work. You can imagine there is a little increment they made to salary.
Welcome back. This is still Nigeria Today, and we are looking at the extension of the registration deadline for the 2024 NCEE. And I have with me two gentlemen in the studio. Now, Doc, over to you. You had the reaction of people there. And but before you react to the what they said, how important is the national common entrance in determining students' future, you know, the academic opportunities, and of course, how their success?
Thank you. It is important. I remember when I was in the village, in primary school, looking forward to going for common entrance. And we wrote the common entrance, your name will come out far away, somebody will check for it and tell you, or you go by yourself. So to write a common entrance at the national level, for me, it's something that with good education, good orientation, our students or our young people should be looking forward to, more so that in this age their names will be published not just on the newspapers but also on the website of NECO. And so I don't think that we should play down the importance of the common entrance, because once it is national, anything national, it means you have competed at the national level and selected. Even for those who are not or who don't get to be selected, it means they've actually competed at the highest level in their country in terms of getting admission into secondary school. So it should be something of honor. It should be an opportunity for people to demonstrate how much good their primary schools are, and for the primary schools that get their children to do well in these schools, maybe also it calls for celebration, that they were working hard. And after all, the quality of education of a country is measured when you have national entrance examinations or national qualification examinations. Anything at the national level tells you that it is beyond just, you're not a local champion. You're a champion at the national level. So it is important, significant, and we should encourage it. Maybe not so much has been talked about, because honestly, until recently, I didn't know much of how people get into the unity schools again. But when we were in secondary school, it was those who went to unity schools, when we go home for holidays, they were the super
students.
Forward to them
Yes.
and celebrate them. So what has happened today, maybe it's something that calls for us to re-examine ourselves, re-examine our outlook to our own educational system and how it impacts on what the image becomes outside of this country.
Okay. Now back to you, Prof. You had the reaction of the people out there. Now, okay, let me ask, what could be the reason of the low low turnout or low enrollment of pupils to these NCEE exams? Now, because I asked this because in 2022, there was an extension, about 2 weeks extension, because of low enrollment of students for this same examination. 2023, there was an extension of almost about a month, extension, and for the same reason. This year again, the same reason, low enrollment of students on this exam. So tell us, what are the reasons, apart from what have been mentioned, highlighted there by the respondents?
Thank you very much. At NECO level, management used to sit to discuss issues that has to be to do with the various examinations we conduct. So the National Common Entrance examination is not different. Though we don't have research findings in this line, but you can easily pinpoint certain factors that could be responsible for the low enrollment of candidates into this examination. One, awareness at the state level. At the national level, we try as much as possible to make sure that we organize sensitization campaign or seminars for stakeholders across the states, that is at NACO level. We are joined by staff of Federal Minister of Education to embark on this sensitization campaign to let people understand the importance of enrolling into this examination or having candidates from across the states to write these examinations. And despite that, we do encounter low enrollment. Then you find that at the rural level or at the semi-rural level, a lot number of people are not aware of these things because some of them don't even have the capacity to come to the cities, even if you invite the parents to come and listen to the importance of conducting these examinations. So the larger population that attend this installation are mostly from the state capital. And the bulk of the primary schools are in rural and semi-rural areas who don't even understand or don't even know, some of them don't even know that this type of examination exists. And government that's supposed to help the matters, that are aware of the importance of these examinations, do not sponsor as much candidates for this particular examination. Maybe because they sponsor candidate at the senior school certificate examination because of the economic cost of paying for these candidates. Maybe that is why some states are not bothered about sponsoring candidates at this level. To be fair to some states do try, but some states, honestly, they ignore. So economic reason will be part of it. And lack of awareness is also part of it. Two, nonchalant attitude, I think, of elite. Just like the other respondent just said, that some parents prefer to take their children to private secondary school. So what is the need for common entrance? Negating the fact that at least they needed to send 1 or 2 candidates from a family to attend this school for the purpose of national unity. Not these things don't normally happen. And if you look at the attitude of some principals too of the unity schools, attitude of some of the principals in unity schools to contribute to this low enrollment, because we have complained severally and we wrote the ministry as far as this is concerned. Some of them neglect the common entrance examination and conduct their own individual schools aptitude test to admit students into these schools. So if I know I will bring my child and he can easily get admission into these unity schools without much stress of going through the national common entrance, so why should I? So this is also one factor which has to do with the system itself. So we also encounter this problem. So these are all part of what contribute to low enrollment, and particularly, you know, the effort of government to put the economy in order. A lot of policies have been in place that affects people's capacity to to financially look at some of these things they are to do. And gradually some of these things are improving, because in some areas the cost of fuel pricing is coming down, dollar is also coming down. So there are less stress as far as the economic challenges are concerned. Some of these things are easing. So, but yet people are not.
Thank you very much,
thank you.
Prof. Now, Doc,
Yes.
Prof has reeled out some of the issues that could necessitate the low enrollment. You mentioned the economic factors, access to information, sponsorship on the part of government, attitude of people, principals, and of course parents, and all of that. Now, in your opinion, how does the low registration or turnout impact educational access and opportunities for Nigerian children?
Yeah, first, since we're looking at a number, you have to test. Okay, so if we have about 115 or thereabout schools, and let's say you're enrolling 50 students per school, that is already a huge number. Now, if you have only 49, you don't even need to write a common entrance, you just send them to schools. So that will, how do you now select the best? If you're trying to populate the schools, anyone who applies gets to come, even if they scored low grades. So that is already an impact, because once you shift grounds in your educational system, you are creating room for a future of low quality education. And once you begin to tolerate, where we are today comes from tolerating, oh, let's allow them to move, and look at what it has become today. And
you agree with me that it's really affecting the quality of education today, because you see a student that finished primary 6 or primary 5, they really cannot,
yes. So
even in secondary school, they can't really defend.
So the quality of education is impacted upon. But one other issue that we actually skip, which I will come to it, is that insecurity in this country is one issue. Before now, you could afford to send your child to any part of Nigeria and you go to sleep.
So how can we improve on these issues?
So now, nobody wants their child, for instance, from elsewhere, other parts. You assume, I knew someone who attended one of the schools in Damaturu when we were at our age. I'm not sure anybody from Lagos, even from Abuja, even myself, I may not want to send my child to a school in Damaturu, not necessarily because there is no peace any longer, but because of the constant issues of, the impact of Boko Haram attacks and all that, that has actually left this volatile nature. So this impact into it, how are we going to improve? Government will have to walk the talk, because it's a different thing to say we are on top of something, and then it's another that this thing that you're on top of actually gets sorted. We've been talking about we're on top of the security situation for a very long time. There was a time in this country it was said that Boko Haram had been technically defeated, and we know that Boko Haram, just beyond Boko Haram, we even have the ISWAP in the Lake Chad area. So insecurity is on the increase, banditry is expanding, and all those things. So this will impact the fact that parents will want to send their children, since the selection does not tell you where your child is going to go to. What if they end up in an insecure area? And so this will impact on the enrollment, and that is very unfortunate.
Okay, thank you very much. Now,
I think from
30 seconds,
okay.
30 seconds, tell us how the situation can be improved upon. How can have more children participate in this examination? Because just like you said, the target is about 1 million or even over 1 million. But
yes. For us to be able to achieve this, for me, there should be legislation that makes it compulsory for terminal primary school pupil to sit for the national common entrance, because previously the state common entrance, every child that is at that level writes the state common entrance, and from there they select those that will go for aptitude test and interview for. So there should be legislation to make national common entrance compulsory. In fact, not even national common entrance, all the examinations that is conducted by the National Examinations Council should be made compulsory for Nigerian children. This is because basic education is compulsory. So we conduct basic examinations. So by the time we do that, of course, you will find enrollment beyond what we think.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very big thank you to Professor Dantani Ibrahim Wushishi, Registrar, National Examination Council, NECO. And also we had Dr. Philip John Hayab, an educationist. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
And thank you for being part of the program. I am your carrier, Clinton. Goodbye.